Hi, welcome to my Sparkle guide. Sparkle is our newest 5-star Harmony character. She is a buffer that is focused around skill points and looks to be a pretty insane upgrade to some pre-existing units. This guide will cover everything you need to know on how to build and play Sparkle, going through her best light currents, her best relic sets and planar ornaments, how to speed tune her best teams, and many more. Before we start, I'll be giving away a supply pass / welcome rune / crystal card to my subscribers at 3k subs, so make sure you subscribe to enter. So, what does Sparkle do? Sparkle is a 5-star quantum unit following the path of Harmony. Sparkle's talent, Red Hearing, increases the max skill points by 2, and whenever an ally uses a skill point, all allies' damage dealt is increased. Sparkle's skill, Dream Diver, increases the crit damage of one ally, scaling off your own crit damage, and advances the action forward by 50%. Sparkle's ultimate, the Hero with 1,000 Faces, recovers 4 skill points and grants all allies Cypher. Allies with Cypher will gain more damage bonus for each stack of her talent. And finally, her technique, Unreliable Narrator, makes all allies invisible to enemies and when entering battle, gain 3 skill points. For Sparkle's trace bonus abilities, first is Almanac, which additionally gains 10 energy when using basic attack. Second is Artificial Flower, which extends the crit damage boost on her skill by 1 turn. And lastly, Nocturne, which increases all allies attack by 15% and an additional 5/15/30% for 1, 2, or 3 quantum allies respectively. Sparkle's kit is decently simple and straightforward. She's our first unit that straight up increases the maximum skill points you have, which is basically bending the rules of this game, and mechanics that do this are usually extremely good. Not to mention that she also has another rule bending ability, and that is an action advance forward on her skill. So naturally she's going to be a very fun and interesting unit to play due to her doing things out of the norm. For trace leveling up priorities, she kinda wants everything. But focusing on your skill, then your ultimate, then your talent is okay at first, but it is recommended to level up everything later on. For her bonus abilities, Artificial Flower is the most important one, then Nocturne, then Almanac. For bonus stats, prioritize crit damage. Now we get to her best relic sets and planar ornaments. For her best relic sets, we are looking at a 4-piece Hackerspace for her best in slot. 4-piece Musketeer is a good alternative, with 2-piece of any one of these being okay for low investments. For her best planar ornament, we are looking at 2-piece Panaconi or 2-piece Vonvac for her best in slots. 2-piece Ageless or 2-piece Broken Nail can also be great alternatives. Now for her best relic and planar ornament stats. First and foremost, I'd like to mention a bit about her speed tuning. I'll be making a video going through more in depth and going through some of her best teams specifically with speed tuning, so look out for that. But in a nutshell, like Bronya, there's 2 primary ways to play and build Sparkle. 1 is to run her as fast as possible, and 2 is to run her 1 or 2 speed behind your main carry. For Sparkle, the first playstyle is more recommended, as Sparkle's skill is a 50% action event. That is not the same as Bronya's skill, which immediately grants a turn. However, do note, if you're planning to play 1 speed less Sparkle, you may want to avoid running 4-piece Hackerspace and Vonvac as that might screw over the speed tuning. But back to her stats, for main stats, you want to be running crit damage body, speed boots, HP or defense balls, and ERR rope. For substats, prioritize speed until your desired speed, which is either as fast as possible or 1 behind your main carry, then crit damage, and then the defensive stats. Now for Sparkle's best icons. Obviously your signature, Earthly Escapade, is her best in slot. However, for our secondary options, we have to again talk about 2 playstyles. For Fast Sparkle, Dance 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 and Carve the Moon are great alternatives. But for 1 speed behind Sparkle, Past and Future and Battle Isn't Over are recommended over the other 2. Energy light currents like S5 Meshing Cogs and S5 Memories is not really recommended, as she ideally does not ever basic attack. But one thing I would like to mention is that Planetary is a great option if you're running her in Mono Quantum, which brings me onto her best team comps. Obviously, one of the most hyped teams for Sparkle is Lunae Hyper. Naturally, this is probably gonna be her best team as it fixes Lunae's main issue while also benefiting from it. But for those looking to fully utilize her bonus traits Nocturne, Mono Quantum is a superb option too. This is a very strong team and could actually rival Lunae Hyper in some content. But I do want to mention is that Silly is gonna be more consistent than Qingque here. Sparkle actively wants your team to use skill points, so Qingque having a luck factor or straight up not using the skill points is actually bad. Talk about suffering some success. But Prioity could also work here, and you could always replace Silver Wolf with another support for Quantum Weak content, as Nocturne only requires 3 content units. Sparkle at the end of the day is just a genuine good support, but with one big disclaimer. You want to be running skill point hungry teammates. So Jinlu and Blade are not great DPSs to run alongside Sparkle, but otherwise she has plenty of options and Sparkle's skill point will actually enable some double DPS team comps too. One last team comp I want to mention is one with Bronya. With specific speed tuning, we could actually get a DPS turn, then Sparkle into DPS, then Brawny into DPS. This will need further testing, but it could be something really good, and fun in my opinion. Now finally, we get to her Eidolons. Just like all buffers, Sparkle's Eidolons are quite good. E1 is just overall a nice team damage buff, E2 is stupidly broken. If you think Ramei's 20% defense in what's broken, this is 24%. E3 and 5 are just trace levels. E4 additionally increases the team's skill point by 1 and ult recovers 1 more skill point. This is very nice, but it also could be overkill. And E6 basically grants more crit damage to everyone. Just like E1, it's a nice team damage buff. So ultimately, her Eidolons are pretty good. E2 is a good stopping point as the rest of her Eidolons just doesn't do that much. But E4 could also be pretty nice if you wanna play some really heavy skill point teams like Lune plus Bronya. When it comes to her Eidolon versus Lightcorn, I will say Lightcorn, as Earthly is actually quite universal, so while it's about as good as E1, the option to use it on someone else makes it better. So yeah, Sparkle is looking to be an incredible unit that follows the footsteps of Ramei for being an absolutely broken 5-star Harmony unit. However, instead of being a generalist, she is more focused on skill point heavy teams, so that's a big upside. Hopefully, future Harmony releases will continue to be this good with their own specialization, because the day that Ramei gets power crept is the day that either this game becomes Dark Souls or becomes Stardew Valley.